I attended one of the very first tournaments for Deadlock, a game that's still in alpha, that I've barely played and that I know virtually nothing about. Why? Because the hosts and commentators, Jacky and Daisy, invited me along and I thought it would be cool. I know so little about any of this that how can it not be a fascinating experience? So enjoy all this beautiful HDR footage as I talk about it. The first day I attended, I didn't even bring my camera to the event. I didn't know if there would be bouncers stopping me from bringing one inside, what the crowd would be like, nor the structure of the event. But it turns out that the Red Bull gaming sphere is this. Yep, I found myself in a very casual environment based around this area, which can be shifted about to accommodate for any kind of game that there is. There are, of course, a bunch of PCs, but there's also a PlayStation 5, a Switch, and quite a lot of Red Bull. There was no crowd. The players weren't even at the event. All that was here were all the people behind the scenes who get this sort of event to work. And me. The highlight for me was getting to meet Jacky and Daisy again, who are such lovely, genuine and welcoming people who I always end up hanging out with at events because they're really nice. Plus, we can share cat pictures. I've learned most of what I know from Deadlock from them. They've been following it since the very beginning and are establishing a very solid foothold for themselves should this game become the next big thing. They've been covering each and every patch note in a way that would make 3Clicks Philip jealous, and with this event, aim to figure out how to commentate for this kind of game. I remind myself that the reason I got into Counterstrike was the mapping and the bot support. There is nothing about a MOBA that I find exciting, nor do I like the almost clinical way that Deadlock tries to merge all of the currently popular features of every other game and genre to date. But equally, it's Source 2, it's a Valve game, and with all the checkpoints and bot-like candle minions running about, is it really that different from me playing Battlefield 1942 with bots back in the day? And since the game is being made by Valve, I feel like I need to grasp what's going on with this game to better understand the Counter-Strike side of the equation. This whole thing was also a great opportunity for me to see what spectating a game like this is like for someone who's completely clueless about it. You've got to remember how much information about it you take for granted that a newer viewer simply doesn't have. In Counter-Strike, for instance, as a spectator you can see the outlines of all the players on the map through walls. So of course, people viewing the game for the first time assume that the players themselves can also see the enemies through walls. I went into this event with this kind of obliviousness to Deadlock's mechanics. And I learned about the game and HUD one bit at a time. I'd ask myself, who's playing right now? And I'd scan the screen until I found a player's name. Then I'd ask, who's winning? And I'd see the numbers at the top, which roughly represent the strength of each team. It took embarrassingly long for me to even notice this map showing the paths and overview, even though it's right there in the corner of the screen. I admit most of the powers used remained alien to me right through to the end of the event, but I got to know some of the characters and their abilities very well, like Viscous, who's clearly the best character in the game, and who has a beautiful, translucent, Mr. Blobby-like appearance. My concern with a game like Deadlock is that it doesn't have the same round-based progression as Counter-Strike does. It feels mushier, like the whole battle is a stalemate until it isn't, and then it feels like one team just steamrolls the other until they win. I didn't care much for the players behind the characters. In this early build, the HUD doesn't make it very clear who's controlling which character. The whole match just felt like one frantic battle between a dozen zany characters until one side won, and it didn't give me time to get invested in particular players or playstyles or teams in the same way as I can at a Counter-Strike event. But maybe that comes with learning more about the game and the players for it. Plus remember, the players for this game are also very new to it. No doubt the meta will evolve many times in the coming months and years. I do think they should have the map overlay in the middle of the screen and a dedicated view for both teams either side. But that's just my impressions as a newbie viewing this genre for the first time. The event was a success, $5,000 raised for charity, and for such a small and early tournament the presentation was polished and professionally casted. And as a YouTuber, it makes me feel so lazy. I sit at my PC making videos every day. Meanwhile, these people are hosting events, churning out far more content than I am, and seem to be everywhere and know everyone in the industry. It's frankly humbling and fascinating to hear the goings-on behind the scenes. It felt important to me that I attended this event in many minor and unrelated ways that will probably become clearer to me over the coming months and years. So thank you to Jacky and Daisy for letting me be a part of your wonderful little tournament. Congratulations also to Blank, who cast the event alongside them, and to Tong, who didn't just make me feel home at the Red Bull gaming sphere, but is also a great dancer. And also apologies to the rank 1 Slork, who was unfortunate enough to be on the receiving end of one of my Slay the Spire raves.
3, 2, 1. There we go. Thank you.
Easy peasy. Did you guys get one for socials? Oh, we could.